In this video, we're going to take a look at two types of ways to analyze data. One is called a 5-number summary, which for some reason I have way at the bottom. The 5-number summary involves the quartiles, and we're also going to take a look at a display of data called the box plot. So in order to find the 5-number summary, we need what are called the quartiles, and these are 3 values that divide a data set into 4 parts. So think about if you have a candy bar and you're splitting it between 4 people, you need to make 1, 2, 3 cuts, and you will have 4 pieces of that candy bar. Well, the same goes for a data set. We kind of cut the data set in half, and then we cut it in half again for the bottom and the upper half. So the way that we do that is we put the data in order, least to greatest. That's what numeric means. Find the median, which we already know how to do. That's the middle number. It's also called quartile 2, but really we just refer to it as the median. And then you find the median or the middle of the lower half of the data, and that's either referred to as quartile 1 or lower quartile. And then you find the median or the middle for the upper half of the data, and that is called quartile 3 or the upper quartile. The interquartile range shows the spread for the middle half of the data. You take quartile 3 minus quartile 1. So what this does is it gives you an idea of the spread of the data, but it doesn't include any potential outliers that the data set has. So it's nice to look at the range and the interquartile range together, and that gives you a better idea overall of the spread of your data. Because again, that interquartile range is not affected by any outliers. All right, so the 5-number summary includes the 3 quartiles, as well as the smallest data value and the largest data value. And then a box and whisker plot is a number line with the 5-number summary on it. And it's a nice visual to see the spread of the data. That's what a box and whisker plot does. It shows you how spread out or how condensed or similar a data set is. So we will start with just practicing the 5-number summary. And again, the way we do that is we put the numbers in order, least to greatest. So I have that organized for you already, so we didn't have to waste time on the video getting them in order. The data is about song lengths in seconds. So we need to keep that in mind when we're analyzing the data when we get to part B. All right, so for the 5-number summary, I have the steps on the previous page. The first thing that you do is find the median or the middle number. So we have 10 data values, so the median will fall between the 5th and 6th data value. Remember, when you have an even number, you take the 2 numbers that are in the middle, add them together, and divide by 2. And in this case, we get a median of 224. So now we have our data separated, and I like to physically put a line through the data. So we have our data separated into 2 halves. We have the lower half, the scores of the song lengths of 129 through 221, and then the upper half, the song lengths of 227 through 438. So then we find the median of just the lower half of the data. So we've got these 5 data values, and this one, 171, is right in the middle. There's 2 data values lower and 2 data values bigger until you get to the median. So this is quartile 1, or the lower quartile. Let me label this one as well. This is our median, or quartile 2, but again, we hardly ever call it that. And then we find the median for the upper half of the data. So the middle number for the top 5 data values is 344, and that's quartile 3, or upper quartile. So the 5-number summary includes the smallest data value, quartile 1, the median, quartile 3, and the largest data value. Next question is to take a look at the range and the interquartile range. So the range, remember, is the largest data value minus the smallest data value. And in this case, we have a range of 309 seconds. We're talking about song length. And then the interquartile range is the third quartile minus the first quartile. So we would have 344 minus 171, which gives us an IQR of 173 or 173 seconds. So what we need to do in order to interpret the range and the interquartile range is think about what the data means. The data is about song lengths in seconds. Well, 309 seconds doesn't mean a whole lot to me, so I'm going to convert that to minutes. And there's 60 seconds in a minute. 6 goes into 30 about 5 times. So this is approximately 5-minute difference between the longest song and the shortest song. And when you're talking about listening to a song, 5 minutes is a pretty big difference. For the IQR, let's do the same thing. 6 goes into 17 about 3 times, so that's why it's approximate. So the interquartile range is about 3 minutes, which when you're listening to a song, I still think that that's a pretty big difference in song lengths. So I would say, based on the range and the interquartile range, that we have a wide variety of different song lengths. And when you look at the original data from 129 seconds, which is about 2 minutes, to 438 seconds, which is about 7 minutes, that's a huge difference in the song lengths. So large variation, remember variation means change in song lengths for data set. So just to let you know, if the IQR was smaller, let's say the IQR was 1 minute, I wouldn't call that a big difference. What I would have said was that the range was large, so there was a large spread for the data overall, but if the IQR was short, that would tell us that there would be a potential outlier if the IQR is small and the range is large, or just that the middle half of the data is pretty similar and the top and bottom quarter of the data is a lot more spread out or a lot more varied. And sometimes you can tell that by looking at the data set, but if all you have is the 5-number summary, you just have to make the best assumption that you can.